Hello, and welcome to my informative and maybe even persuasive video dealing with the issue of legalizing prostitution. I'm joined here today with my identical twin brother Ivan, who's sitting right over there. Hello. And he is someone who strongly opposes the notion of legalizing prostitution in the United States. Kevin, you're a Tute Man. I'm a what? You're a Tute Man. That means prostitutes. Even back in high school. Still don't really follow. Don't you remember the time you brought that girl back after prom? And she was all flashy, wearing a bunch of prostitute-ish clothes. And you went back into your room, and 2 hours went by. And when you came out, I heard you say, "Why on earth did I even pay for that?" Explain that one, Tute Man. Yeah, that was actually my prom date, dude, not a prostitute. We had been watching the movie Twilight in my room for 2 hours, and I was just baffled. Why would I even pay for that movie? Well, if you're not a Tute Man, then why on earth do you want prostitution legalized? I thought you'd never ask. Alright, Ivan, I'm gonna have to ask you to be just a little bit more mature for the rest of this video. Can you do that? Yeah, I'll be more mature, I promise. Alright, so now I'm gonna tell you why prostitution needs to be legalized. Reason number one being ending the violence done to prostitutes. Despite how you feel about the act of prostitution, that should in no way take away from the fact that we need to treat the people who are prostitutes equally, as humans. And treating them equally means keeping them out of danger and violence. The violence is running rampant in the current system of illegal prostitution. In Tila Sanders' book, Sex Work, A Risky Business, she interviewed 50 prostitutes. And out of those 50 prostitutes, she found that 16 of the 50 who were sex providers reported violent encounters from clients. 14 women had been physically beaten, 7 women had been sexually assaulted or raped, 5 women had been robbed at knife point, 3 women had been robbed at gunpoint, 3 others had been confined against their will, and another 2 had been drugged. And by making it legal, it would cut back drastically on the violence happening to these prostitutes. Because when something's illegal, criminal activity tends to kind of gravitate towards that illegal act. And also in some cases, authorities and the public turn a cheek at the violent acts happening to these prostitutes because they are involved in an illegal activity. If this activity were to be made legal, authorities would be forced to act upon the violence happening to these prostitutes, my friend. Ivan, may I ask you, what's your biggest fear? Being trapped in an elevator with Richard Simmons? What's your second biggest fear? Yeah, my second biggest fear is definitely getting an STD. That wouldn't be good. Exactly, and this brings me to another good point on why prostitution should be legalized. Ivan, as you already know, if you decide to partake in any sexual activities outside of your future possible marriage, you should be wearing one of these bad boys. Right here. So what you're about to say is if prostitution was legalized, it'd be mandatory for them to wear condoms? Yes, and along with wearing condoms, the prostitutes themselves would have to undergo weekly routine tests checking for STDs and making sure they're clean and fit to be prostitutes.
I came as ass, I came as a whore, I came as advice that came too short. I came as
for this last lesson I want to teach you, I've equipped you with a knife and placed you in a random room with 2 other people. The person to your left is a known prostitute, and the other person is a respected businessman. Due to overpopulation, you must kill one of them. Whom will it be?
Did I pass the test?
Unfortunately, Ivan, you failed. You do not possess the power to decide if one human has more of a right to live than another human. That must be left up to God, or nature, or whatever. You only chose to kill the prostitute because of the social stigma attached to her.
So, what all have you learned today? Today I learned that prostitution should be legalized because it cuts back on violent crimes as well as the spread of sexually transmitted diseases. And also, I learned that all humans, regardless of what they choose to do with their lives, deserve to be treated equally. Hey, wait a second. I feel like I've heard this before. The same teachings. By a man 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem. He said he wanted to treat the prostitutes equal too. Wait a second. Are you Jesus? No, I'm not Jesus. But me and Jesus have a lot in common. So, next time you think about Jesus, think about me, Kevin Haroff.